Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, guys. I'm Andrew Shotland, head of LocalSEOGuide and sometimes moderator of these things. We're going to jump right into it because we've got limited time. So why don't you guys introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So my name is Jonathan Chaya. I am the director for SMB Sales and Service for Facebook for North America. And our mandate is really to help small businesses grow their businesses using Facebook. And I wanted to say as an aside, I'm thrilled that there are still a few people left, considering we're the last act before the cocktails start. So anyway, glad to be here.
Rene Reinsberg founded a company called Loku. We joined forces with GoDaddy last year, and since then have been heading the emerging online marketing products division over there.
I'm Brendan King. I'm the CEO of VendAsta. We are a social reputation and presence management platform that we resell to partners who sell to small businesses.
All right. So I think Perry's talk was really, to me, incredibly relevant to what we're going to talk about. When I was asked to run this panel, originally it was going to be about something about whatever, digital marketing. And you know, my feeling was that the real question that people who come to these conferences, one of the real questions they want to hear is, how do I get the attention of these guys? You know, these so-called SMBs who have, you know, way too many options and way too many things to do. And so each of these companies has kind of a special way, I think, that they can go about getting their attention. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of probe, like, what are they doing? And maybe you guys can pick up some tips for your own businesses. Let's start with Brendon Vadas. So Brendon, last night you said something to me, something like small businesses don't, they don't, what is it, what was the phrase? They don't buy something, they buy when they're ready to buy? Is that something?
Yeah,
like
so I mean, you know, I had a past in retail. So from 89 to 99, I had a computer chain, and I realized, you know, when we'd spend money on advertising that consumers would only see it if they were interested in buying a computer. You know, I'd spend a lot of money on a full-page ad, and I'd ask everybody, hey, did you see my ad? You know, because 2 ads were more than I was paying myself in a whole year. And invariably, guys would say, nope, nope, nope. But 1 in 10 would say they saw it, and that's because they wanted to buy a computer. And so, you know, I think that people don't buy, you know, necessarily because they have a need. They buy when they're ready. And so for small businesses, it's the same. You know, we could go out and say, hey, you've got a, you know, a terrible social footprint. Your website sucks. You got bad reviews. But that won't make them buy. You don't know everything that's happening in the business's life. I mean, they could be going bankrupt the next day. So what we do is we help, because we don't make any money if our partners don't sell our products. So it was an evolution. We learned to help them sell. So we basically take that data that we get, so we know all about them, and we send it out there to the small business. And then if they engage it, if they open the emails, if they, you know, click through, and if they spend a lot of time, then we surface it to the salespeople. So really, we don't try to get the small business's attention. We get them when they're interested in what we're trying to sell. So it's kind of a reverse.
And just to be clear, you're a reseller model. Like your partners are typically YPs and newspapers, things like that, right?
Yeah, our premium partners are YPs, newspapers, but all the way right down to small digital agencies, you know, with 10 guys.
So to Perry's point, probably like some of the hardest people to motivate to get to actually pay attention to your product in their kit bag, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Got it, okay. All right, let's move on to Rene. So Rene, before we get into how you guys market to customers, I just want to say personally, ever since you changed your marketing strategy, I've bought a lot fewer domains from GoDaddy. I really liked the women in bikinis. I thought that was an effective strategy. So now I have to go elsewhere. Anyhow, so you guys have a slightly different problem than these guys in that you have really low dollar customers, right? I mean, what's the average customer spend on GoDaddy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a problem. I think it's an opportunity. I think, you know, if you, and a little bit of background, GoDaddy's vision is to radically shift the global economy towards small businesses. And that means helping existing businesses grow, but it also helps, you know, create business, so help people who have an idea actually start a business, right? And so that can start with a very low spend. And I think, you know, GoDaddy has built an amazing brand helping people get started, and, you know, especially around domains. So we have, you know, more than 12 million customers, I think more than 56 million domains under management, so really big player in that space. And I think what's interesting, and this is ever since I've joined GoDaddy, I run into people who are like, oh wow, and I just got a call from you guys last week, and someone, actually we're having lunch with someone today with a bigger group, and that came up, who had just gotten a call and been reminded about renewing some of the domains they were having. And I think a lot of those conversations are actually nice ones, nice customer experiences. People pick up the phone when they see that GoDaddy is calling, and I think that's one of the big differences to some of the other players out there. And I include myself. When we were Loku, a small startup, and we were testing some outbound campaigns, we would call a business. They weren't really happy that we were calling them. So I think that just gives us a huge advantage in the marketplace.
So I get calls from GoDaddy all the time. I'm a pretty good customer of yours, a very high LTV. And part of the problem with getting to SMBs is cutting through the noise. But I'm kind of curious, as someone who works internally in GoDaddy, how do you cut through the noise of GoDaddy messages? Because I must get an email a week at least, hey, it's time to re-up this thing. Did you turn this button on? Hey, do you want a fancy new whatever thing? How do you do that? Yeah,
totally. And I'm completely, also a GoDaddy customer myself. Right. So it's sometimes funny when I call them up and I'm like, hey, it's Rene from GoDaddy, and they're confused for a little bit, but I'm calling as a customer. Right. And we've been sending a lot of emails. Let's be honest. But I think as part of a bigger effort that's happening at the company right now, moving to Hadoop, all the data, kind of going into personalization. We can actually get smarter about what emails we send. We can send fewer emails, make them more relevant. So all the good stuff that you get when you invest in these things. And I think that's where kind of some of the clutter from the past will probably disappear over time. But ultimately, those emails are kind of a constant reminder that GoDaddy is there for you. And people that call in, they may call in because they forgot their password, or they want to renew a domain. But what ends up happening is they're having a conversation, and sometimes that I was just down in Arizona in one of our call centers last week. We were doing product training for Get Found, and so I listened in on a couple of the calls, and it's funny because I'm sitting there and I'm a pretty just trying to get shit done kind of guy, and I'm listening in on that call, and it's half an hour into the call, and there's been no sales pitch. It's been a conversation about how to help that customer format their email signature, and giving advice on it, and just talking about it, and then how's your daughter doing? Oh yeah, I'm coming back from college this weekend, great. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering what's happening here, how can this be efficient? But the last 15 minutes of the call were then spent on, after that email footer was kind of figured out, were spent on actually introducing some of our new products. And I think that comes back to the trust element, which is, people trust the GoDaddy reps. So when they're on the phone, they're much more open about, hearing what new ideas, new products, and so every call is an opportunity.
Got it. So Jonathan, we're joking backstage that Facebook's kind of idea, or maybe one way Facebook could market to SMBs is just change the widget on their page from blue to orange, and that will get 1 million people signing up or something like that. So how are you guys approaching targeting this market that's really kind of hard to target?
Sure, and I think we were joking, but it's true.
It's true.
It's true to some extent. I think Facebook has the luxury of not having an awareness problem. I think many of the nearly 1 billion people who use Facebook every day are SMBs, and they see advertising in their news feed, and so they can intuit the value of Facebook advertising from that standpoint. And so that, to be honest, hasn't been a huge focus for Facebook. I think our primary strategy in the recent years has been, this may not be a mind-blowing insight, but let's make simple, easy-to-use products that work. And I think...
You just blew my mind.
What's that?
You just blew my mind.
Mind blown. I'm glad I could enlighten one person today. But I say that somewhat in jest, but it's not a flippant comment, right? Our goal at Facebook is to create ad products that people can understand the value of those ad products and really understand the ROI of an investment in those ad products. And a good example is what we've done with some of our direct response advertising. I mean, if you're an e-commerce company and you're driving traffic from Facebook to a website, we've made it easy for you to track the conversions associated with that ad and really do closed loop measurement. so you can actually see the value that you're driving through Facebook ads. Now, the challenge in the SMB space is that's still very complicated for a lot of SMBs. So Facebook's focus has been, how do you simplify those products and get them to a point where, you know, time-strapped and money-strapped SMBs can actually use that product and feel good about the ROI they're driving. Another example we just released recently is our local awareness ad unit. And this enables small businesses to input their address and target people who are in the geographic proximity. Either they work or live or have recently been near the store. And I think this is our effort to really drive brand awareness at a local level, and we've done it in a way that makes it simple and easy to use. Again, we're just trying to make it so that you know, these somewhat complex advertising concepts and tools are easier so that SMBs are more likely to try them and see value from using them.
So when I was looking at the location or local awareness ads, one of the features was that it would target, I believe it was users who recently were in or near your business. Is that and I'm kind of curious, like, in one way that makes sense. Okay, they were driving around my shop, and so maybe they're a customer. But another way, it's like, well, maybe they were just driving through town on their way to a 300-mile-away place. And so why is that person like a good person for me to target?
Yeah, to be honest, these products are evolving, and this is a new one, and we're trying to hone in on the targeting capabilities to enable you to reach the relevant people. Mm-hmm. And we think recency of being in the area is a signal that sends a message that this person was nearby and may be interested in your product. I mean, it's one component of all the targeting we provide, which includes age and demographic interests and all that stuff.
Right. So it seems like, so Google, right, is to me an interesting analog to what you guys are doing, in that they have this huge business that has nothing to do with local, and then they kind of jam this local thing on and started to go mostly through resellers, but also DIY. And it always felt to me like a very underserved part of their platform. And I'm kind of curious, like, where does the SMB revenue part of things sit in Facebook's overall business model? Because it still feels like it's a tiny thing compared to like all the other stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, I can say
you're feeling that pain inside the internal.
No, I see the opposite. I see us focused squarely in the SMB space. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of timing for us. We started with some more enterprise level advertising products, and we're working our way down to make them simpler and easier to use. And Facebook is squarely committed to this space. We're just sprinting to get there as quick as possible. And is it envisioned that this is like 100% DIY product, or do you want to like partner with agencies and resellers and things like that? So we want to make it easy for advertisers to use our product, and certainly you can come to us directly and set up your own ads. There are a wide variety of marketing partners out there that can help you utilize Facebook advertising, and we fully embrace all of those channel partners who are making it easier for folks to access Facebook. Got it. Yep. What does Siri think? Siri, I don't know. Siri's screwing me right now. Rene, let's go back to GoDaddy. One of the things that you guys do, particularly around Loku, that I think is a pretty hot topic is in the local listing space. So with GetFound, as you know, Yext does this. There's a couple other companies that have kind of competing platforms that do this kind of thing. It's interesting to me that in some ways it makes sense as GoDaddy is offering this service because, hey, you've got a website, maybe you have a location. But am I wrong in thinking that a lot of GoDaddy's customers are kind of people who maybe are starting a business in their bedroom, and so they're not really physical location businesses?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So we partnered with GoDaddy before the acquisition. I had an integration with the website builder product, and so that was kind of a good way for us to learn a little bit more about the kind of the audience and the segments. And I think vertical-wise, there's actually a lot of kind of overlap with sort of brick and mortar and service area businesses. There are also online-only businesses, but I think for those, the product's not that relevant for now. But I think the more important part is really kind of looking at the life cycle of the business. And I see GetFound and some of the other products out there as really one of the first products that an SMB will buy. The first kind of online marketing dollars that they spend. And this is interesting for GoDaddy, in particular, given that we're already playing in that field. We have a lot of folks that may not have set up the business yet, but they have an idea. They've maybe bought Website Builder. They're starting to play around building the website. And so Get Found comes in really nicely into sort of that early stage. And we actually see some businesses who don't even have a website that use Get Found because they want to be on all the major places where customers can already find them even before they, maybe have kind of press publish on Website Builder. So it kind of complements that really nicely, and I think there's a strong overlap with sort of the early, kind of the people who are early in their life cycle of starting the business.
So it seems like, in a strange way, fear is like a really powerful motivator to sell SMB services. And I'm specifically thinking of, so several years ago, HubSpot, I believe, came out with this thing called Website Grader, where you typed your domain in, it spit back all this SEO data about how bad their website was, gave you a score, and then, obviously then they upselled you to something. And Get Found works this way, Yext works this way, a lot of sites work this way. Give us a little bit of information about you, and we'll tell you how bad it is. And it seems like that converts pretty well. I'm kind of curious, like, have you tested out various, let's call it scare tactic strategies like that?
Right. I don't really like the idea of sort of selling with fear, because ultimately we're building a long-term relationship with the customer. I think some of that, the way I would kind of position it is more kind of creating awareness. We have a lot of, the reason we built, sort of this free report that, customers can easily run to see how they're appearing online on all the major sites is to create awareness for where they may be missing out. A wrong phone number on Yelp may, result in people not kind of actually being able to place that call and going to a competitor. So I think that's, unless you really kind of spell it out and you show it to the small business owner, they may not be actively thinking about that. They may be thinking about their website as sort of the key channel for actually kind of building relationships with new customers, whereas some of the platforms out there, Facebook, Yelp, Google, are really some of the key places where customers find them.
Got it. So Brendon, let's talk about your scare tactics. So you deal a lot with reputation reviews and things like that. It's like, how are you using that review data to kind of get your partners to, I guess, help you sign up customers?
Sure. So, our partners already sort of have their brand and the trust in the marketplace. So, what we try to do is to help them, understand which customers that are ready to buy, which I had already said. So that's really what we do. We take the presence data, the social data, and the reputation data, and we try to see what the customer is actually interested in. And, lots of times it's not, hey, we've got this wrong information or we need to fix this. Lots of times it's like, you're doing an okay job on reviews or your social product, but, businesses are pretty smart. They want to do work that's going to give them an ROI. And, the media companies that we partner with oftentimes want to become their agency of record, basically. They want to do all the work for them, become an extension of their marketing department. So really we use that information to give our partners an opportunity to get in there and become that agency of record. So it's not even about scaring them. It's about, hey, you're doing a lot of work in social. We can help you with that.
So based on Perry's talk, like how hard is it to get these sales forces that are, a lot of them are kind of old media types. How hard is it to get them off their ass and actually push your product?
That's the biggest problem, right? There's a broken sales model out there. We've got a lot of media partners do not want to sell a digital package at the right price point.
Right.
So what we've done is we've helped them to find the small businesses that they can become the agency of record for and make a good margin on by doing a lot of hard work for them that's valuable. But we have to find a way to teach them how to sell the lower priced digital products, and that's probably not getting in a car and going across town and meeting somebody. That's a different way. And so we're working with our partners, and we're finding a lot of them are open to that, and we're able to sell products at the right price point. So
the advice of people sitting here or thinking about going through a channel is the advice to do their job for them, pretty much? Just use their brand and.
You use their brand and their support and the rest of the services they provide, because marketing is holistic. It's not just all about whether you syndicate your listings to the data providers, you make a website, you do social. It's a combination of things: outdoor, billboard, everything.
Right.
Yeah, just to chime in on that, and in the early local days, our first big channel partner was OpenTable, and at the time we were squarely focused on high-end restaurants and menus, and that was a fantastic channel partner at the time, and there was kind of high relevance for them as well, and so it worked really well. And I think you know, as a small startup, you can actually, you know, if you find the right partner and you find them at the right time, you know, that can create really good outcomes. But, you know, there's also a lot of noise. So, you know, I think it kind of, not every big channel partner may be the right partner for your startup. And, you know, I think that's kind of a good lesson we learned.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, I imagine you guys, and GoDaddy too, I do believe, have probably tested a lot of different messaging to SMBs to get them to sample and try stuff out. Can you give us some insight into like some of the techniques that have worked for you guys? Or is it just the blue widget?
We just turned the blue widget orange, and,
Nice.
then it works.
So good. A little drop shadow on it? Right?
Yeah, sometimes use shadowing curved,
So
curved
effective.
corners. Yeah. No, I think our core tenets is just making it very clear, again, our value proposition and making it simple and easy for people to take action. We found a lot of, like for existing advertisers, we found a lot of success with sending them very targeted messages to help them progress down the funnel, but do it in a way that is natural to them. We're not bombarding them necessarily with spam. We're trying to get very targeted as to what message we deliver to whom, when, and for what reason. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about that and analyzing that.
Do your SMB advertisers kind of align with people who are active on Facebook? Like, are they more likely to run Facebook ads, I guess? Like if I'm sharing a lot of stuff?
I think they are. I think, you know, our biggest source of advertiser acquisition is from Facebook users who then become business page owners and then begin to advertise on Facebook. I think the reality is, though, a lot of SMBs are, to be honest, they're a little older perhaps, or less tech savvy, and so there's more hand-holding that we have to do. But our primary strategy, again, is simplicity, and we model our advertising products around the Facebook user experience. And the goal is, if you can use Facebook as a person connecting with friends and family, then it should be pretty intuitive for you to pivot and use Facebook as a business trying to connect with your customers.
So, you know, there's been all this data released how I think Facebook is the number maybe 2 local reviews platform after Yelp maybe, or Google or something like that, and that a lot of people are finding local businesses on Facebook. I'm kind of curious if you can give us a little more information about that, because it seems like, besides like, hey, the divorce attorney shared some really interesting like panda picture, and so I'm gonna find them that way. It's like, it seems weird to me that people are looking for small businesses on Facebook. Are they?
They are, because there's, you know, small businesses are certainly on Facebook in large numbers, 30 million active small businesses, and they're communicating with customers frequently, so customers now know that this is a place where I can go and interact with businesses. And so you can search, find a business page, and our best SMBs are actively maintaining that page and making sure that all the information is relevant, including, you know, offering reviews and ratings. And so we're seeing that more and more people come to Facebook, you know, for similar reasons you go to a Yelp, to learn about local businesses and really research before you go.
So do those, let's just call them Yellow Pages directory section of Facebook, you know, all the business listings, do those actually get a significant amount of traffic?
That I can't speak to offhand, but
just give us exact numbers.
Yeah, exactly. It's 13.4% of all traffic goes to that.
I can add some context to that, though. Insofar as we get all the reviews, I can tell you that I think Facebook, well, and I should look at the numbers to be sure, but I think lately Facebook has more people either, you know, reviewing, and mostly a lot of the Facebook stuff is like just a like or a dislike, you know, or on the 5-star point rating. But there are a lot of reviews. The volume is bigger than any other provider right now. Period. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're actually going there to find the business, but I sure as heck know they're rating them there.
So you're saying Facebook now is the #1 local review site on the web?
You're gonna
tweet that out at LocalSEOGuide.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. We have about 5 minutes to go. Any questions for our esteemed panelists? Anyone want to know any? We've got one right there. Is that what company are you from again? Some ad thing or something.
I just had a question for you, Andrew. Did you pick out the orange and blue shoes specifically for your jokes today? This morning when you put them on?
I did pick them out this morning, as a matter of fact. I looked down and there they were.
In relation to the changes between orange and blue. Never mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. That went right over my head,
It
Brad.
did.
At the end of the day. Yes, we arranged this. It's an elaborate thing. There's going to be orange and blue drinks at the bar afterwards.
So who else out
Worst
there?
question.
Who else out there is do you see as your #1 or one of the top competitors in the air for small business? Is it Google, or is there some other person that you are most concerned about, or one another?
I think it's Matchcraft. It's whatever.
I mean, we certainly think a lot about Google, and so that's certainly our top of mind competitor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big market. Is kind of the okay, let's go have drinks kind of answer. But the truth is, you've definitely seen an increasing focus from a bunch of folks kind of on this space, and I think it's a couple of things, right? It's all the mobile, everything we've been talking about all day, and suddenly there's kind of a much higher willingness to pay money and actually increase an online spend, and so more folks are kind of trying to tap into that. That's for sure.
I mean, for instance, but we mentioned Google, but I mean, like you said, because it's a popular space, Amazon, are there others that, is everybody going for it, eBay? I mean, is everybody going for small business?
No, I mean, just generally, we think of the competitive landscape pretty broadly. I mean, direct mail and traditional forms of advertising are all our competitors in some degree. So
I'm going to go on a limb and say a big part of the competition is actually with agencies, because what I see is more and more small agencies all over the country are the ones who are actually helping these businesses make decisions, and getting their attention is actually a big part of the job, I think. Even despite what Perry says, I just see it for my own business, is we get hit up by guys like this all the time.
That's where we see our growth, is with the agencies. They have a really intimate relationship with the businesses. A lot of them are lifestyle kind of businesses. They know their customers, and their customers trust them, will listen to them. So, I don't know if they compete with you guys. I think the agencies actually use you guys. So I see it more as a competition kind of thing.
yeah, we fully embrace the agency partners that we work with and do our best to help educate them so they can drive their clients' business. Because again, we see it as an ecosystem. We can't be an answer for everyone at this point, so we need partners who can help educate small businesses on how best to utilize Facebook. So we give them a big bear hug.
Yeah, +1 on that. No, in fact, I mean, a lot of kind of existing GoDaddy customers are agencies that are kind of buying the products and then just kind of reselling them to their customers, right? And I think there's definitely kind of a big focus on our end to provide them with the right tools to do that more easily.
Any other questions, or should we all go have a drink? There you go. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.